Our Breaking Bob series came to an end, but some of our viewers had additional questions in light of the Reedy Creek audit that alleges up to 12 major crimes that employees of the Walt Disney Company and the former Reedy Creek Improvement District could be accused of. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. I'm Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and today we're talking about the Walt Disney Company and the Reedy Creek Improvement District that allowed them to exercise governmental control over not just their own land, but also 57 other entities that were not the Walt Disney Company. When it comes down to it, Disney isn't a monolith, and neither is Florida. Could a disgruntled Disney executive decide to break ranks with them? Will the outcomes ever satisfy Disney's opposition? Let's get into it. Angela Richter, for $20, how long do you think those execs and board members will stay silent when they have the IRS, SEC, and several state and federal agencies looking at that audit and asking questions? Start your blame thrower. This is one I wanted to ask while Ron is here.
Well,
Ron's going to have my opinion, I think. This is not going to go the way I think Angela hopes.
Well, I mean, that's exactly my point. Is you mentioned that there seemed to be some federal involvement in the pedestrian traffic stuff, but Disney, I'm sure, has plenty of protectia at the federal level, but there is a point where even my state senator had to be, notwithstanding that he's a Democrat, there is a level.
You're talking about Menendez, correct?
Menendez, and by the way, we have, to some extent, things are going to be driven by the plaintiff's bar, and especially the plaintiff's securities bar, which is a lot of friends of mine. They have much bigger houses than I do, and they have swimming pools, and they get to the bottom of stuff like this. And at a certain point, you start embarrassing law enforcement. Mm-hmm. That might, so I don't know how much that protects you is going to work. It's not Delaware.
What I've said, Ron, is the company is protected to a certain degree, but I think the Democratic establishment will drop Iger like a hot potato if he becomes too dirty, because they don't need to be tainted by it. And because, as I said, the company is so completely invested in this that even if he's gone, that doesn't take it away. So they don't lose the issues they love.
Right. It's not about Iger at all. It's about, but
it's going to be. I'm shocked to discover there's gambling in this establishment, as I've said.
Fact, this might actually make your point stronger, which is that actually he might make a very, very useful scapegoat for a much, much bigger problem.
Exactly.
Is it fair to say, gentlemen, that there's a much larger set of issues surrounding the next presidential election, but one of those very tiny things in comparison to all the rest is that it probably does have an impact on the Walt Disney Company and how much scrutiny they may face over the next 4 years.
No one's more corrupt as an attorney general. I thought that Eric Holder was going to set new levels, but this Garland guy is absolutely nauseating.
If he gets tired of his current role, he might go down and be over the border. That would be interesting.
Ministry of Wrong Thing for $5. Not to be hyperbolic here, but in my opinion, this Disney audit makes Disney World straight up look like a front ran by the mob. It's nuts.
And let's remember that one of the things that Legal Mindset has mentioned is RICO, which was invented by the Nixon administration to go after the mafia.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, here, let me give you just a quick example of this. So we've now covered in depth two issues: the alleged fraud of how the utilities were being used. That was this morning's video. Today we've covered the military family members. On this channel, we haven't even got to the point yet where we can cover in high fidelity the issue of the municipal bonds and Disney acting as a broker in situations where it definitely could not. So bizarre, but
weird. For $5, Disney has ties to certain country, and they just denied the auditor to access to the utility. International repercussions. The auditor even referenced Taiwan.
Yes, that was an interesting reference. We didn't miss that reference, and I got to say, that's one of the strangest things. That's why we started with the utilities issue out of that audit. That's one of the strangest things that is in there, is the idea that Disney, a company, was somehow able to bar the government, the local government, from entering into the local government's own utility, into its own power plant, to observe what's going on. That is bizarre. Strange.
That's going to be a court order very soon, yes. I'm sure. Uncle Roger for $20. I don't know how Central Floridians can ever forgive Disney for the fake power plants, among other things. Even if corporate change comes, it will be indiscernible from fake or authentic.
That's we know some stuff about those power plants that I don't guess we're ready to talk about yet. I don't know how much we're going to be able to say about the power plants, but the lengths they went are rather impressive for what some of these power plants actually became. Let's just say that.
Yep. One of them is very cool. Weird.
One of those, Jonas. I'll say this. This is safe. One of those power plants just might be a place where instead of making power, they find ways to get power brought in.
That's a good way of putting that. A jumbo for $5. Disney looks like a money laundering operation. Well, if you consider the fact that all that money goes into the Florida park and ends up going overseas to pay for parks that may never be profitable and also benefit foreign powers, some of them communist. Interesting.
Parks that make you go,
Mr. MCD191 for $20. Pro, if $70 million of bonds went to Disney instead of the power utility every year, what about the electricity payments of the other businesses that reside within the RDIC boundary? Is Disney basically stealing from them?
Well, first of all, let me give a shout out to my beautiful and amazing wife who has delivered unto me an iced latte that will increase my capacities to get through this show even more than they already were. And it was unfair to the entertainment industry as was. But all of that said, Mr. McD, and I love the name Launchpad.
What an idiot.
Right.
Yes, it's Mr. McD.
I cannot remember the name of the man who played Launchpad, but I have worked with him.
Terry McGovern.
Yes. He was actually, okay, so one of the cool things, if you think back to NFL 2K, back on the Dreamcast and the original Xbox and all that, back when Sega Sports was around, there's going to be people in the audience who remember this. Not only did he play Launchpad, but he played one of the two commentators in NFL 2K. You can't coach that. But now that said, let me get back to the Super Chat. $20 and deserving of a full answer. We are investigating currently all of this, and we are working to figure it out. In fact, we think at this point, based on our investigations, that we know exactly why Disney elected to set up the solar farms in the way they did rather than over the parking lots. We're not yet ready to bring that information out. You can imagine with 80 pages and our need to get it right lest we get in trouble, we're working very hard, and this is going to take some time to go through all of it. But needless to say, Disney is accused of very bad things. There's going to be some very bad things, I think, that come to absolute fruition and confirmation. And we're going to get to one of those later in the show, which is their mistreatment of veterans and military members. It confirms the worst. No, it's worse than what we thought, and what we were already reporting exclusively and originally here on the channel was plenty bad enough.
And being very careful, which I will be, Mr. McD, I want you to think about this. It's not just a question of the other RDIC people. Disney competed for federal grants for some of these utility and improvement things, and so did Orange County, and Disney won some over them. So there's a whole kettle of fish, as they say.
I wish I could tell you guys right now what we think that we know right now about the way the solar farms work. That's more than what we knew when the video went out. It's going to have to wait. But Mr. McD, I may even remind in the video that we do at one point about this. It may take us some days, but when we get there, I will definitely say this one goes out to Mr. McD. So,
and I would also like to say thank you so much to our sources on that. That was an amazing and quick and qualified group of people that reached out.
I did not anticipate when I first started covering that last night and getting information. I didn't expect that we would have someone let me know that it's combined cycle natural gas turbines that power 90% of Walt Disney World.
You
probably.
underestimated
That was specificity.
the gigawattage? I can't believe it.
Yeah.
We will never underestimate the gigawattage here on this channel.
Speaking
How
of,
dare you, sir? How dare you? The people are the gigawatts on this channel.
What did you call me?
21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. This clip was part of the Pro Show that happens every Tuesday at noon. But forget about that guy. What you really want is to show up to That Park Place live on Thursdays at noon. Of course, if you're not in that time zone, just hit the notification bell if you'd like YouTube to tell you when that is. Like this video. If you like this video, if you know somebody who is as interested as we are in this sort of thing, then maybe you should share the link with them. And of course, please consider subscribing to WDW Pro and That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.